Welcome, KC Race Talk fans, to another episode number 17, here in the Checkered Flag Studio. Love it when I get guests that want to come in the studio with me, and we have a guest in studio tonight. But I wanted to tell you, I have a remote guest on Wednesday night with the Midwest Lightning Sprints. Excited about that. It'll be my first. I've had Bob Douglas on the show, but I've not had a racer from the Midwest Lightning Sprints, but Tyler Johnson's going to join me remotely for an interview on Wednesday. And then Thursday, as I was telling you guys, with it being Mental Health Month, I have Jerry Davis from Nevada Speedway and a young lady coming with him that we're going to talk about their big race that they have coming up that is all about mental health. And we all know how important that is. We've lost some racers over the years due to mental health issues, so I'm excited for them to get here and we talk about that. Guys, again, please like, follow, share, try to get out as many as you can. I'm at just short of 1,000 followers, about 40 followers short of 1,000. When I hit 1,000, we're going to Spotify. So the show won't only be on Facebook, it'll be on Spotify and my YouTube channel. So please do that. But that's enough of that. I want to thank Rod and Supply for bringing this to you guys tonight. But our guest this evening is raced just about everything. Didn't know about a few things till just a few minutes ago. Very involved in the racing community, very involved with the Mike Tanner Memorial Race and what's going on there. Picked up his first win, but his first win in a hobby stock at Lakeside Speedway. Raced a four-cylinder car, raced an E-Mod also. So excited to have John Syder. John, thanks, man, for coming and joining me. I know how much you are involved with racing and how much you love racing. And I love having guests that I can talk to, and we can just talk racing. So
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I did not know until, like I said just a few minutes ago, that you started racing, had a street stock, blew a motor up, raced it just a handful of times, and got into a four-cylinder at Valley Speedway and ran a full season with that four-cylinder for Gary Joslin. And I did not know that.
Yes, well, actually I started in 1998 at Warrensburg in a stock car, which were really stock then. You know, there was bone stock. Rookie of the year 98, 99 ran a little bit. Went to Lakeside when it went dirt like the second year. I ran it for a couple years. The deal with Joslin was like 2010, 2000 to 2010. We were just hit and miss, you know, here and there. You know, Lakeside had a lot of factory stocks in. I mean, there was, 40 cars a night that would show up, and it was we ran a little bit here and there, but the four-cylinder deal, I switched to a stock car, and opening night it blew the engine, and Gary called me and said, because I was always tight with Joslin, Gary called and said, hey, I got this four-cylinder car if you want to come out and run it, because it was his old I-70 cars that they was running on asphalt. So I said, no, I don't think so. I just don't do it. He said, I'll call you in 2 weeks, see if you change your mind. I said, okay, yeah, we'll try it. So he called 2 weeks, and I'm like, you know what, I do kind of miss racing a little bit. So he's like, here's where the car's at, go get it, it's race ready, you ready to go. So we went out there, and we should have bought a weed eater because it was in a yard, and we drug it out, put a battery on. This was Saturday morning, so we drug it out, put a battery charger on it, went to Valley, and didn't know what to expect. And honestly, bang for the buck, it was the most fun I've ever had. I mean, it took a couple weeks to get the car back in shape, but because it sat for so long, but it was a lot of fun. It was. Those old cars are fast. You didn't get paid. You raced for a trophy and a pit pass for the top three, and we won 11 of 14 features. And by race 3 or 4, they were booing me, which I thought was funny.
Right.
But Gary didn't care for it much because that was his name and everything over the car. So, but I told Gary, I said, hey, I'm only here for the biggest trophy. So, it's kind of what we got to do. So we ran that for a year and a half or so, and then just kind of got back into to the stock car deal, or the actually was the E mod, which you see me running. We bought an old worn out car and went to race at it Valley a couple times, and hadn't been back in a 4-cylinder, but it was a lot of fun. They really are a lot of fun, and I would put $25 in a gas tank and go racing.
Sure. No, it's definitely an inexpensive class, and it's a shame that it has a smaller following now. You don't have as many cars. But then again, I was just at Electric City with that Midwest Hornet series, and they had 44 cars, had 3 cautions all night. And believe it or not, and I've said this on the show many times, I'm a race fan. As long as it's racing, I don't care what it is. And boy, they put on a good show.
They do, and you'll gain a lot of respect for them here locally, but you go up into the IMCA world, they're fast. They have a lot of money in these cars, and they really do drive the wheels off of them. I mean, they get a kind of a bad rap from some people, but they are fun to watch. They put on a good show most of the time.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was so impressed. I mean, and I was impressed with the Midwest Hornet deal, and I'm going to have him on the show. They had a excellent crew, did a really nice job, had their own lunch trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, it was impressive. And those guys were serious racers, and it was, like I said, it was a good, solid show. I know they also ran at Nevada too the following night and put on the same.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Jerry, and Jerry said, "Man, it was a great show." So yeah, no, I'd like to see it back because that means the sport's growing.
Yes.
You know, we're experiencing some, with the economy, with the things car counts are really, really down.
They are.
The E-Mod class used to have 50, 60 cars around here. It's probably closer to 40 now.
Mm-hmm.
I've retired. Billy Spillman got out. Ben moved to A-Mod. I mean, but we don't have those younger kids coming up into the class. So you ran the E-Mod, picked up a win at Valley.
Yep.
How many years did you run the E-Mod before you went to this hobby stock thing that you're doing now?
Well, 2016 hit and miss, 2017 a few races. I probably only ran it 30 times. The problem was I bought an old IMCA A-Mod that Mike Tanner seen on Marketplace and said, "Hey, go buy this," and I bought it, and it would have been a good E-Mod. But my lack of experience for those, I didn't realize how much those chassis were out, and so we didn't have a great motor program, but I had a worse chassis. I mean, it was a 07 Harris car. It was a good car to start with, but it was just wore out. And I had Jake Richards. We would turn on it. We couldn't get that thing. It was so tight all the time, and he said, "We're going to make it until it spins out, and then we're going to go the other way with it." And we couldn't get it to even spin out. It was just, it was wore out, and it was wearing on me mentally, thinking that, I was never good, but now I'm worse than what I thought I was, because these guys there was a lot of fast cars coming up, and my mind was too competitive to just be like,
sure,
I'm okay with 10th or 12th, and I wasn't, because I knew what I wanted. I just couldn't get it to where I needed to be, and I should have spent the money and done it. So we sold out, and I retired for probably 3 weeks, and then I drove a friend of mine's car, which was a newer car. It was a E-Mod, and I set it up the exact same way that I had the Harris car set up, scaled it out exactly the same, because it was identical, but much fewer nights on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to 35, and I started towards the back of the heat race, and I was right on the leader's butt as we crossed the finish line, and I got out of the car, and I told my wife, I said, "Well, I'm not the greatest, but it wasn't me. That car was just wore out." So that kind of got the spark going again. I drove that car for him a couple times, and then we moved up to, I got with Jamie Richards at Charger Chassis and had him just build me a brand new car. Let's just start over. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it the right way, and with everything new from the start.
Gotcha. But you chose a little different route. You went IMCA hobby stock, and then came and ran it with the pure stock division. Am I correct on that?
No, so the first in 20, I bought the car in 20, had it built in 22, so 23 was my first year at Lakeside, and it was a pure stock. I was running as a pure stock, Lakeside rules, then in 23, and then in 24, last year was my first year switching to IMCA,
Gotcha.
to the hobby stock.
I got you. Did you? I always thought that had stock radials on it.
So no, at Lakeside I was American Racers.
Okay, I didn't. I for some reason maybe it was I just seen it after the fact.
Now last year I did run one race. We were going back and forth, and I was trying to get Lakeside to let me run both back and forth. You know, with the IMC hobby stock, I'm at a disadvantage over the pure stocks because the headers and the wheels and the tires, because 7-inch DOT tires, although they're at the time $55 a tire.
Right.
So, and you could get 4 or 5 nights out of them and perfectly fine. But I was trying to get them to do it, and I started to kind of get them on board a little bit, and then it didn't work out. But the horsepower advantage they had over their headers and what I had, because I just had my IMCA, I had to choke my headers down to 2-inch pipe.
Gotcha.
And that was a big disadvantage. But if the track was heavy and I could get those DOT tires to hook up, then we were moving.
Right.
But 30 pounds of air pressure.
So did you pick up your first win at the hobby stock at Lakeside? Was that an IMCA car?
No, that was Lakeside. Yeah,
that was Lakeside rules.
Yep.
I got you. Now let's talk about that, because that was your first win at Lakeside.
Correct.
I got my very first win at Lakeside. And there's a whole nother realm of emotions winning there.
Absolutely.
Had Terry retired yet when you won?
Yes.
Okay, so see, I had Terry Watland as my flagman too, which, I mean, in Victory Lane, I was like, wow. But that doesn't take it away. You won at Lakeside, your very first win there in the hobby stock. How was that?
It's bigger than what you would think, because I was going through chemo. I had just completed round 2 of chemo, and I used racing as my focus to get past all the cancer. So we dominated the heat race, started the front row, went to the feature, started on the front row, and was leading it. And literally, I was thinking that I was like a Make-A-Wish. Like, where's everybody? Are they just going to let me win this thing?
Yep.
And that wasn't the case. And we ended up, when we got to after I crossed the checker flag, Donnie Billings was the first one to greet me, and Donnie knew what I was going through, and just literally high-fived me before I ever got the car. And then when my wife got up there, she is in tears. And I told her, so we don't cry in Victory Lane. As much as it meant to me, like we don't cry in Victory Lane. We're just gonna enjoy this. So, you know, I got out of the car. People wouldn't even recognize me. You know, I had no hair. I was bloated from the steroids and all that stuff. So, it meant a lot on a whole lot of platforms. It was just it's. Not only that with that one, but I was able to back it up 3 more times, and then racing against Ed Knoll, went through the whole thing, and you know, and Ed just don't let you go easy. I mean, you got to fight.
Not at all.
So
yeah, he don't let his boy go easy.
No.
Since you brought up the cancer, you found out you had cancer. What did you have exactly?
I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Okay.
So in 2023, I was I even racing. In working, I hurt. I just couldn't. I'm not one who really goes to the doctor much then.
Sure.
It's like I'm getting old. You know, I'm 49 years old. This is just. I have a physical job. This is just part of it. And it got to where it was just taking longer to recover. I was eating Tylenol like crazy, and 'cause that's the strongest thing I can take. So in actually the Janet Billings race in 2023, when I got out of the car, I told my wife, I said, I don't think I can do this anymore. And we were fast. We were a top 5 car then. I was ready to walk away with it from it, because I hurt so bad, because I would race on Friday and it'd take me 2 days to recover because my body, So the cancer was in my lymph nodes, and just getting beat around in the car, even on a smooth, fast track, it still, it still hurt. It still was 2 or 3 days to recover from it. And so that was September, and I told her, I said, I think we're done. And the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. And it was like early January is when they started kind of getting together. I never suspected cancer was the thing. And then the blood work started coming back and said, hey, we got a bigger problem here.
How long are you cancer free now?
Let's just say they haven't said cancer free. It's not showing any signs in my body. I still go through. I did 8 rounds of chemo. I go every other month for immunotherapy. I've got one next week. All my lab work comes back great. I had a scan 4 months ago, and it still showed it was I'll use the word dormant maybe. It shrank down almost down to nothing, and it's not doing anything. So at first it bothered me because I wanted the term cancer free. I wanted to ring the bell, walk out, and never look back. Then I had to change to I'm gonna not worry about what tomorrow brings. I'm just gonna do what I can for today. And if I don't want to worry about cancer and get hit by a truck in 6 months, so it's just not a thing for me. I can tell you that I feel better than I ever have. I don't have any aches and pains. I'm just thankful that for every day that I can wake up and live my life.
Yeah, well, I mean that's probably half the battle is just coming to that realization and having that positive outlook. And they've come so far with immunotherapy.
Oh yes.
And what they're doing, and it wouldn't surprise me next year if they say, you know what, we've got this figured out.
Right.
So I mean, leaps and bounds. But won your first feature in a hobby stock at Lakeside, no hair, all bloated from the steroids, had to have been quite a moment.
It was. It took a couple days for everything to set in and to realize, because growing up, my dad raced at Riverside, Lakeside, the old Lakeside. And even early in my racing career, Lakeside's where you want to win at. You go win another track, that's fine, that's perfectly fine. But if you wanted to be somebody, you had to win at Lakeside. And then to go there and do it in a dominating fashion, granted I had a good motor builder. We switched to mid-state engines with something. They built good stuff. My chassis builder is second to none, and in my eyes, I mean, the guys helped me out through thick and thin. So I had a good program. I just had to make sure I hit the right pedal, the right amount.
Sure. No, I totally understand it. I'll never forget mine because I won by 8, 10, 12 car lengths, and then again just the history of. I had Terry Watland in Victory Lane. For me, my grandfather, which is why I fell in love with racing, never seen me race, and then passed away before I picked up my first feature win. So I go home. I do the same way. No tears in Victory Lane. But as I got back in the car and pulled into, and I'm going somewhere here. As I pulled into Tech, I get out of the car, and the very first person to shake my hand and congratulate me was Mike Tinker.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, very first guy. And I'll never forget that because it wasn't, but another year and a half later and we lost Mike.
Right.
And so that meant a lot to me. Ben ran second that night, and so it was a pretty emotional moment.
Yes.
Because I've always respected Mike, liked Mike as a person and as a racer. And so when that happened, I was like, I've just done something.
Oh yeah.
So that was really cool. Still running the hobby stock?
So yes, so we switched.
Well, let's back up. You had a bad wreck in that hobby stock earlier this year.
Yeah, well, night too. So so we went to the Spring Nationals at Beatrice. So in hobby stock up there, I mean, there was 40, 50 cars. So I mean, you're qualifying, and the difference between a heat race here, there's 10 cars in your heats up there, and you usually run 10 laps. It's almost like a feature. It's almost like running a feature in a heat race, and I've learned a lot about racing with those guys. But so the Friday night show, we didn't make it in. I think I missed the transfer spot by 1 or 2 spots. So then Saturday, we're gonna try to get 2 different shows. So I was actually going for second place, and I had a good run going. So the car in front of me, he kind of slipped up, and so I just shot the gap. And the guy that I passed to the right, the wall startled him, and he came down. And when he clipped me in my passenger door, which put my car up on the right side, on the driver's side down. I hit the wall on my side like that, and then it tumbled 4 times, and every time that the car made contact with the ground, it was on the cage above my head, and literally it landed wheels down, chucked all the sheet metal off the car for the most part, and got out of the car and was perfectly fine, and loaded the car up within 30 minutes and took it to Charger chassis, and he was already, we got re-stubbed it and had it ready to go. I mean, we've had 3 nights back out on it now.
Wow. Well, that's impressive that Charger bucked up like that for you. I mean, that's, those guys have schedules, and for him to jump in and fix it, that had to mean a lot. Cause I did see some pictures on Facebook. That was a gnarly deal.
It by far in 28 years, the hardest hits that I've taken, one after another one. I mean, I could send you the picture as I flipped, his bumper come through my window net. It ripped my window net as it was going. I had his paint up my pillar next to my seat.
Wow.
So yeah, young kid. I actually had to get on. I know how Facebook works. I had to get on there and defend him because people were just ripping him. My thing was, if it didn't bother me, it shouldn't bother you.
Right.
So he made a bad decision and he didn't lift. And I mean, he stayed in the throttle the whole time that I was barrel rolling, and he was shoving me. 19 years old. He was just, I guarantee he'd probably do it different next time. I would hope so anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we all learn. I mean, there ain't not a one of us that haven't stepped on our noodle.
Sure.
I mean, and done something that we didn't intend to do, or just made a bad decision, splitting a gap, doing something, going, man, I should have been a little more patient. I should have waited. You know, we've all done it. If you've raced, you've raced. It's honestly, it's probably my most frustrating part of racing is you'll get a guy out there brand new, doesn't have any experience at all, doesn't really have the budget to be doing it, and he gets tore up one time and he tears up a lot of our stuff.
Right.
And then I don't see him again. And I can't stress this enough. If you want to be a race car driver, man, I'm all about it. But you know what? Go work a couple of years with another team, learn the game, figure out how everything works, and save some money. Get your budget to where if you have those bad nights, which you're going to,
sure, you
have that money to put it back together. That always just frustrated the Liberty. But it is what it is. That's part of racing. What's your intent for, now you got the car back from Charger, you've raced 3 times. Is your intent this year to run a full season? And then is it all going to be hobby stock stuff? Are you committed to going to IMCA and making the travel up north to do that? Or are we going to throw some headers on and some American racers? Because I'm sure you have some laying around. Is that your plan, or what is the plan for 26?
So the 3 races that I've ran since back together, they've all been USRA hobby stock. So I ran once at 36, finished 6th there. And then
I remember that because I called that night.
Okay, yeah. And then in that one, I was probably honestly a top 3 car, but that they were getting so pushy, and I'm more, I don't want to put this on TV, but I will back out of a spot for you to have that $5 spot, because I've literally just put a bunch of money into the front of this car. So that don't mean just come up and rub me, because if we're in first and second, I'm probably not going to back out of it. But
right.
But when the green flag dropped, I was sideways on the front stretch and lost my tailpiece before I ever got to the flag, because we were going to win somebody was going to win on the first. So once I got that vibe, I just got into survival mode. And then when I could get a couple good laps in and really see what the car was going to do, I ran the week before at 35, and had a good night. So, but it was slicked off. I wanted to see what it was going to do tacky because 36 is always, hammer down heavy. So I wanted to kind of see what it was going to do there. So I liked what I seen. I just wasn't going to push the issue to make it into the top 5 when I didn't see that $5 spot. They can have it. I'll just hang back to where I'm at. And then the next night we went to 36, or 35, and it was slicked off. And I have never been good on slick until I started running some IMCA stuff last year, and it teaches you a little more. That you're not IMCA. You have half the size of the tire, and not as good at brakes because I have to run a stock master cylinder. So I've got half the brakes, a little bitty carburetor, and half the tires, and no quick steer. So they're talking about a learning curve. You're gonna have to learn real quick. Yeah. So we went to 35 the following night, and I got third out of it, and it was a solid finish for me. A third at 35 is great for me. I mean, it's just to get the car to run the bottom and to drive the way it did. It was definitely something to build on. But now you asked a question for the plans. So this Friday I'm going back up to Beatrice where I flipped. We're going to go up there Friday night. We're going to run that show. And then Saturday we're going to Eagle Raceway. I don't know if you've ever been to Eagle.
I have not been there. I've watched it many times on Flow, but not been there.
It is literally, I would say, a carbon copy of 36. It's you enter, you exit the same way. It's carbon copy. And so we're going to run there. It's a 2-day show, Saturday and Sunday night. So we're going to go up there. There'll be 40, 50 hobby stocks. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, no.
It is it's a good test. Sure. It's fast track. It slicks off more than what 36 does. But I'm actually gonna drag Jeff Goffridge up there in his E mod. He's gonna switch to a sport mod. So
gotcha.
So he's gonna try his little hand at that too.
I got you. I'd be surprised with you. And since we're talking about slick and heavy racetracks, let me say this. I really enjoy watching IMCA racing. I really enjoy Marshalltown on Flow and the Friday night show. I watch it, or watch the highlights, at least the highlights, every Friday night. Or if it's 2 in the morning, I'll come home and watch it. There's a definite difference in how you go to Nebraska, Iowa, up north, how they run their track surfaces compared to the way we do here in Kansas City. Perfect example, Ironman's at Lakeside Friday night. The 2 weeks prior to then had been heavy, hammer down, and rough. Mm-hmm. And that racetrack was slick, smooth, and drivers I've talked to loved it.
Right.
What do you? And I'll bring this up too. I also went to home for Mother's Day to Illinois, and I caught a race at Red Hill Speedway. One of the nicest, cleanest facilities. Bathrooms were spotless. Grass was cut. I mean, it was a nice facility. And it makes you appreciate racing just a little bit better because there was a real effort there. And I'm not saying that promoters aren't putting in effort. That's not what I'm saying. And nor am I bashing anything. But there's definitely I don't want to say lack of effort, but a different mindset in how they're preparing hammer down heavy compared to slick or compared to, and I know it's very, very hard to make those up, but have you experienced that? Because, well, I'll bring it up because I'm real good friends with him and I know you are too. It's why Jake Richards travels and does a lot of Iowa stuff. The surface is just a little bit better. The fans are just everything's just a little different. And I'm not saying that's better or worse. I'm just saying different. Are you experiencing that as you're making those travels up that way?
Absolutely. So not only do I see the difference in the track surface, I see a difference in the car count, and I see a difference in the people in the stands. For instance, we go like the Eagle. One of the biggest differences between that, even long before I went IMCA or traveled north, the thing that gets me is the amount of time that it takes to line cars up after a caution. Especially, not to throw Lakeside under the bus, but it's every track. If a track is as big as Lakeside, it should really only take a half a lap to get everybody in line. And a lot of it's people aren't responding to listen to what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, you go to IMCA World, they're going to pull you in, they're going to DQ you. That's a techable item, and if you don't have it, then you're going to get DQ'd, and those guys know it. So when you get up there in these other tracks, they will. You listen to what they say. You get in line right away, and usually a smaller track, which is like Eagle, same size as 36, you only have 1 or 2 at the very most caution laps. Gas is expensive. I mean, it's a lot of money. I don't want to keep turning laps, burning fuel. In IMCA World, I don't have weight. I can't put weight on the car. So I need more of that rear weight that's in my fuel tank. I don't need to burn it off on 15 caution laps. And as a driver, I get annoyed with that turn-in lap I drive. There should never be 4 laps at a big track to get cars lined up. Or sometimes there's something on the track they need to get out. I get it. There's always going to be something, but just because somebody spun out, it shouldn't take that long. And I'm not bashing anybody. My thing is up there. Those tracks have done it for so long, and they're in competition with so many other tracks. They have to be on their A game right at the bat. We go to tracks where when one set of cars are leaving the heat race, the other one's coming on, and then you're taking the green right away.
Oh yeah.
And if they throw the yellow, it's at the last second because they don't want to slow everything down. Perfect example. This past year, I've watched forever, but I went up to Boone to run the Super Nationals, and literally the most fun that I've ever had and not made a show. We got there for the prelude. We started it. It rained like crazy.
It always does.
We was out there holding on to the tent while the rainstorm was coming, so my tent didn't blow away, as late model tires were washing down the pits. With like Boone, well, even the other tracks. So you talk about the surface. I'll go back to Boone. I don't use hardly any tear-offs. I maybe use 1 or 2 a night, even on heat races up there. It's just a different dirt. I don't know what it is, but I'll go to a local track and it'll be one after another, and I go there like the week at Boone. I think I used 3. So and ran 3 nights. So it's that part is nice. I don't have all the mud caked on the front of the car.
Sure.
So up north, I don't want to say they take more pride. I think it's more of a business. They know they need to do what they need to do to get the cars, the people, and everybody there. So not that they don't work hard here, but it's just a different world. I've said all along, I wish that some of the local guys would go, of the promoters, whatever, go and catch some of these races, and if they could just bring back 50% of what they've seen, it'll be a step in the right direction. With that said, I love local racing.
Me too.
I just wanted to go race, and Jake Richards and Kyle Russell was one. They said you need to travel more and see, and I learned a lot. The last year my very first IMCA race was a memorial race at Beatrice. Never turned a lap. We got there. They're like, too many cars. We're not going to hot lap anybody. I drew a 3, so I'm starting on the front row of this heat race. Like, well, what better can happen? I've never turned a lap here. I've watched one race, so what could go wrong? So we went out there, and I won it by like 4 or 5 car lengths in the heat race, and I didn't know it at the time, but Jamie from Charger Chassis came to me. He's like, hey, you know that car that was behind you that you could see him every now and then? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's number 2 in the country. It was Blake Lunenburg. He's like, I'm like, I don't know who that is. He's like, he's got 30 feature wins so far this year. So he's like, I didn't want to take it because I didn't want to. I want that in your head before you went out there. And so go there. After I won the heat race, they pull me down. They literally they treat heat wins like a feature win. So they stuck us heat race, and they gave me a 6-pack of Pabst beer. And I thought, I'm going to drink one of these. So it was hot. I think they made it hot so you wouldn't drink them. So we go back there and get everything set up for the feature. I start front row outside in the feature next to Dylan Richards. Dylan Richards.
Yeah, I know who Dylan is.
So literally, my wife's like, "Are you nervous?" I said, "No, I'm not nervous. I just there's just a lot of this is televised IMCA TV. So I mean, you got a lot of eyeballs on you. So I held with him in the top 3 or 4 for the first 7, 8 laps, and ended up knocking the front end out of whack on a rut. There was a big flip right behind me. That was my first time on IMCA Doom Scroll. I kind of live there now, but there was a big flip, and then a couple laps later, my car just went to handling like junk. I finished 10th, out of a heavy hitting field, so that wasn't bad. So coming there, my wife's like, what happened? I'm like, I don't know, I guess I just ran out of talent or something. And I look at my right front tire and it's kicked in like 2 inches. I'm like, well,
right. There.
Now I have a reason. I'm out of talent, but the that's the reason why. So,
Sure.
But yeah, it's IMCA World. You win a heat race there. It's literally like winning a feature. I won one there, and I won a race. It was NASCAR section, but Corning. You ever been to Corning?
I have been to Corning.
That's a big, fast track,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
My second time there, we won the heat. I like the track. I don't want to make it a regular track because you hit something, it's really gonna hurt.
It's hard.
Yeah, the straightaways are probably 50, 70 feet longer than lakesides,
Yeah,
and tight little corners.
It is. It is a definite. When they say paperclip, it is definitely a paperclip.
Yes.
Big long straightaways. Yeah. No, I've been there to watch. I haven't ran there. But a nice place. Just wow, long straightaways.
It is, and when you go up there, back to the Nebraska Iowa thing, the towns are welcoming,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of these tracks are right in the middle of town. I mean,
sure.
literally right in the, and it's a whole different thing, you know. In the city here, you see a little different. I mean, Valley, for instance. I mean,
Sure.
he's that poor guy's got to fight the
City
neighbors
all
all the time. So yeah, it's a. I enjoy running there. We was going to do a whole lot more of it this year, but with the fuel prices that they are,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to stay closer down this way. We're going to work on the USRA hobby stocks, which, you know, 36 and 35, and Electric City. I want to run an Electric City. I know they're not getting a very good car count, so
Right.
so I'd kind of like to go help with that. I mean, it's a decent haul, but I mean,
Well, and I tell you what, Parker's doing a great job there. That place is looking better every time I pull in it. I announced there their opening night. I was there. Was free. It's part of my deal. I go there when I'm not calling at 36.
right.
I go to Electric City to help Andy out. Excuse me, because Andy can't get up and down as well after he had lost his leg there.
Oh, yeah.
So I go down and at least do driver interviews in Victory Lane, and then I'll get up in the tower a little bit. Great place though. You'll enjoy it. It's fun. It's a fun little racetrack.
I ran there in the E-Mod a couple times back in 2020, and when, not him, I think it was Jerry Brown, when they first opened it up. So we went there for their inaugural night, and he had a lot of cars. I don't think he was planning on getting as many as he got.
Right. Yeah.
And it was a good time. It was.
I talked to Jerry. Did an interview with Jerry down in Nevada, and I don't. You know, I say this. I don't think if Jerry had not done what he did, I don't think Parker would be where he's at today.
I agree.
So I give a lot of props to Jerry Brown for taking that on and trying to revamp it as much as he could before then the property was sold and Mike took over. So I think the world of Jerry and that deal. I also think the world of Jerry because Jerry was the first one to put up real money for a Midwest E-Mod feature. I ultimately won that event down there for driving for Kenny,
Right.
Manthes, but that was a cool deal because it launched more of those events.
Right.
Where guys that are racing for $200 and $300 now can go race for $2,500.
Right.
So I liked that. Excuse me. Do you think, and this is part of my, at least from what I see from afar, I think IMCA is, and I only have a couple to compare it with, is basically a rule package. And I'm sure they do a little bit more than that, but that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like IMCA, you go get in a fight in a pit at an IMCA racetrack, and that other IMCA racetrack's going to know about it.
Yes.
And that other one, and you're not going to do that.
No.
Because it's going to follow you.
They all talk.
Yes. And I think that's what's missing. We both were involved with it. And I complained about it. But when the Mocan series started with the pure stocks and the IMCA, or and the EMODs, I could go run anywhere within 70 miles a year, 80 miles a year, and everybody was on the same page. I didn't always agree with what they were doing because I thought they were hurting us in some areas. Because, and this is what I was told, well, we just don't want you to get out of control like the A mods and the B mods.
Right.
Well, but you let them get out of control. Don't penalize us. Keep us where we're at. Don't change it. Leave it alone.
Yes.
Leave it alone. And I argued that because when I built my E-mod, it was a B-mod that I built the second year B-mods were existed.
Right.
And now the B-mods are A-mods with 2 barrels. I mean, and so we've got to get back and I understand promoters are there to do a job and they're there to make money and they're there to put on a show. And some of them are doing a great job. Some of them are doing the bare minimum. And then there's people in the middle.
Right.
I'm gonna vent. I get a little frustrated with little things. We race for trophies. We don't race for plaques. It's those, and it's just little bitty things, but those are the things that racers want.
Sure.
I not that I don't like my special trophies because I've got several of them, and that was cool. But when I go on a Friday, Saturday night race, I want to win. It's a $17 trophy, man. But you doggone it, that's what I want.
Absolutely.
I don't want a plaque. And there's several racetracks doing that now. And I'm going, man, you're just kind of missing the boat a little bit, guys. I don't, I understand cost and I understand it's a business, but yeah, we got to get in a better shape here.
But we all go for the same reason, to win money and to win a trophy. If you're not going to get the most money, you want a big trophy. I mean, I haven't been in that situation where I had a plaque. For instance, the Joey Hurd race, the one that IMCA race the first one I won the heat race in last year, they were 55-gallon kegs. It was a keg trophy is what they were giving out. And they were phenomenal. I mean, it took 2 people to get. I didn't win it, but I've seen it.
Sure.
But it took two people to carry it back to your trophy, to your trailer. So IMCA gets that part of it. But with that said, IMCA draws a lot of cars. Not bashing them, they pay the least. I mean, it's not very good pay, but they don't need to kick it up. Why should I pay more money when I'm already getting 130 cars a night? I mean, they're going to show up. So
there's some truth to that, I interviewed Bob King earlier this season, a new promoter at CMS, and one of the things he said was the purse has to match the class.
Yes.
And so, I agree with that. I like to keep the racing as racy as possible and as close as possible, and I think IMCA does a very good job with that. I never liked it, the whole invert and average start thing. I hated it. But when I picked up my win at 36, I started 12th and won that thing, and that was one of my most memorable wins.
You appreciate it more.
Absolutely, I do, and it put on better races.
Yes.
So there are parts of me that there's got to be a middle ground somewhere. And this is not me bashing anybody,
right?
Because I love local racing. I go out and I promote with them. I interview their drivers. I'm trying to do it with everybody equally as much as possible. And so I need them to be good.
Right.
But I'm going to tell them when I think, he just kind of lost it there. There's a reason why, and it's not the money. There's a reason why the King's Royal is such a big deal at Eldora. And it has nothing to do with money. It is the crown at the end of the night and the throne.
Right.
And that's, I think promoters, and this is everywhere across the country, I think promoters think promoting is, I'm going to take tickets, I'm going to have a race, we're going to get fans, and that's it. you got to do a little bit more.
Yes.
And so that's the kind of stuff I really like to see. That's always cool. Not to change the subject, but we've already talked about Mike a little bit. The Tanner Memorial's coming up. I know you're very involved because you and Mike were very close. I have Crystal coming to do an interview with me the week of the memorial race so we can kind of promote it. Going to be at 35 this year. But tell me a little bit about your involvement now. I know you just did a tire raffle.
Yes.
And is there more stuff coming?
Probably not from me. I did 2 tire raffles. So Mike and I were close. I didn't even meet Mike through racing. I didn't even know that Mike raced. So I coached baseball for a very long time.
Right.
And so Mike's daughter, Raylyn, she was a softball player.
Mm-hmm.
So this would have been 2013, the year of his accident. Just before that, they come and they were looking for a baseball team because she played softball in one season, but in the spring, but fall she wanted. They was going to keep her going with baseball because girls softball wasn't as big then as it is now. So he came to me, and I mean, he always wore race shirts, but I wore different hats. So when I was at baseball, I was only on baseball. I wasn't thinking much about racing because we were a competitive team. So he came to me and put her. And his daughter was a home run slugger just right off the bat, and so put her on the team. And it wasn't for a while later. Somebody said, like, "Hey, you know Mike races." I'm like, I don't know. When I go to the track, I literally have blinders on, and I'm in my own world, and I don't pay attention. If he's not in my class, which he wasn't, then I didn't pay attention to him.
Right.
So we kind of hit it off there. Then his accident, and then we got closer from there. And so when she started this, well, when Mike passed away, and with the funeral, so that was kind of my thought, was my idea. I brought the race cars to the church or the funeral home, and then we drove them across the road with the hearse and all that stuff, and all that. And I had seen that years ago at a funeral. The guy he died, and he had his race car there. Sean Mulick, I don't know if you remember. So
I don't. I never. He died right before I moved here. I moved here in 06.
Yes. Yeah. So he was like 04, 05.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where I got it. They just had his race car there, and I thought, anything ever happened to me, that's kind of the way I'd want my car or somebody's car there. So I approached Crystal, and she's like, "Yeah, let's do this." So Thornton was there, and I mean, we had the Martin's cars. We had a good number of cars, and brought them over there. So that's kind of what kicked it off, because I was friends with Mike. I didn't, Crystal was just Mike's wife. I didn't really. All my business was with Mike. So after that, and I seen what she was doing, so I've raffled off, and in the world of nobody, I've every year I take one of my door skins off, and I'll raffle it off to somebody, and Chet Yates has bought it. I bought it for him and made me sign it. So he took a door that he paid $100 for, and now made it worth like $350 because I signed the side of it. So it won't even bring scrap price now. But I've sold it. I think I had one go for $400 one time. So which was it was amazing to me, because I mean, it's just that people are willing to give to this. So
sure.
So I've done probably 4 tire raffles. I've done 3 through X Factor. Matthew Lance is great to me. Sponsors my car. The last one I did was to Motorsports KC. I've got them on my car as well, so they jumped in and got on board. And so I mean, it's every time I raise anywhere between $1,300 and $2,000 that we just hand straight over to Crystal. So
right. For the memorial race.
For the memorial race.
That's
awesome. So that is even for the memorial race. That's for the foundation, the Finish Strong Foundation. So it's which is, she does a great job with that. So I asked her actually 2 weeks ago, what is your average payout? Because like the last one we did was $2,000 to her, and I'm thinking that's not even a drop in the bucket. And she's like, most of the payouts are a couple $100 up to $700 or $800, and some of the big ones, the real serious ones, are up to close to $2,000. So I was thinking we just barely made an impact on one, but in reality we've helped out quite a few. So
that's awesome.
I don't mind doing it, and it's great. It's a great cause, but it's very time consuming on my part. So The thing is, I only like to do it while I'm at work so I can get paid while I'm doing it. So
Sure.
because it is, and people are goofy. Somebody will send me a message from Minnesota like, hey, if I win these tires, you gonna ship them to me? Like, not a chance.
Yeah, no, not happening.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. You're $40 deep. You can, it's you know what you're getting into. I'm not gonna ship you some tires.
Right. Well, I mean, it's cool to see that race is always a big race of the season that people really look forward to. Not only because Mike was involved and everybody knew Mike, and at one time or another he either helped you with something or gave you some advice.
Yes.
Did something. Mike was very good about that. So that, I mean, it's just kind of cool that people still remember that even now, many years after he's passed. John, who do you got to thank that makes all this possible for you? I mean, I know your lovely wife and those people, but who really helps you get up and down the road to make this racing? It's got to be a dream, because that's what it's every kid's dream to go be a race car driver. So who makes it all happen?
The biggest one in my corner that I turn to would be Jamie at Charger Chassis. Yeah. When we race on Fridays, he's usually calling me on Saturday, and he didn't have a lot of pure stock stuff, so he was using me at Marshall Jewett. Actually runs a Charger car now.
Yeah.
We were going back and we were just trying different things because he builds IMC hobby stocks and stock cars.
Sure.
So he is the big one for me on helping with setups and all that stuff, especially now we're going IMCA. Locally, sponsor-wise, Outlaw Roll-Off. I've known Jim forever and ever, and Jim came to me and he sponsored me a little bit the first year, and then he's like, you spend a lot more money than what I'm giving you. He's like, so I'm going to give you more. I'm like, hey, right on, yeah. Well, I'm not going to fight it. Brothers Disposal, they're out of Leavenworth, Kansas. Lamb Fence, Everhart, Josh Everhart, he builds my bodies. Let me see who goes. Salon 152, they cut my hair for free, so that's a good.
Hey, a little bit helps.
X Factor, Motorsports KC. Oh, I'm picturing the side of my car as I'm going. Hoodlum, Jason Park, he helps with some of my setup stuff. Like when I crashed real hard at Lakeside last year, he helped get me back on the road. Tony Manley Racing, he does a lot of stuff for me as well. He works on my trailer and stuff like that. There's a lot of people. Cody Thornton out in Midwest Grading out in Leavenworth. He most of these people came on and like, hey, we love what you're doing, especially doing the cancer stuff. We just want to give and help you out. So Jake, if I've ever got a question, and if I'm ever doing something wrong, like last week at I-35, Jake's like, hey man, did you come off the bottom because your car wouldn't turn, or did you come off the bottom because you want to try something different? I'm like, try something. He's like, go back to the bottom.
Yeah, Jake can be brutally honest. He'll tell you what you're doing wrong. I love him for it. But well, thank you, man, John, for coming in and spending some time with us. Really, really appreciate it. The Tanner Memorials are off for you. The Finish Strong Foundation's better off for you being involved for sure, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's it's the least I can do. It takes almost no effort to do the right thing, and God knows we've all been honoring our whole lives. So if anything, the cancer woke me up and told me, you know what, it's time to be more helpful. Yeah. I'm still gonna be a smart butt and smart off people, but I'm not gonna do it as much.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
And thank you for what you're doing. This is awesome. When I seen this first pop up, I thought, man, this is what the local scene needed, because we didn't have it. We need something. You know, this is not only good for the drivers, it's good for the tracks, it's good for our sponsors. It gives us all way to promote what we got. And you were giving us a voice where we did not have, for quite some time.
Well, I'm honored to have stepped into a void that I thought was in the racing community here in Kansas City. I love the racing community here in Kansas City. We have some of the best racers in the country, hands down, around here, and I want to see the best for it. And I want our racetracks to be successful, and so I'm honored to be doing this, and I'm having a whole lot of fun.
Yes.
So it's twofold. Maybe when you do something good, you get a little blessed yourself out.
Sure. Sure, absolutely.
Well, KC Race Talk fans, man, that is another episode here in the Checkered Flag Studio. Want to again thank my guest, John Syder, for coming in and joining us. This week, I'm going to have 3 shows. Tonight, Wednesday night, I'm going to have a show with Tyler Tyler Johnson from the Midwest Lightning Sprint Division. I'm going to make my debut as their announcer at I-35 on Saturday night. So I thought maybe I'd get to know one of their drivers a little bit better. And then on Thursday night, again, I have Jerry coming in from Nevada, he's actually driving up to be here in the Checkered Flag studio. So super excited about that. So tune in to those. Again, I need 40 more followers, and we're going to get ready to start launching this thing in Spotify and Apple. So please like, follow, and share. Again, thanks to Rod End Supply for sponsoring this episode, and we'll see you at the racetrack.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.